agenda. War veterans, would you believe it? War veterans in Germany, First World War veteran, a small section, but those who had gone through the war, some of them felt that they should support no war movement, and they did, some of them. They thought they should support international solidarity. Some of them, they did. Shouldn't we be alive to these contested commemorations, which is the title of this famous book? The third thing, the possibility part that I talked about, 9/11, Culture of Commemoration, is yet another book that I would draw your attention to. Here, an American scholar who has gone into the entire story about 9/11 and how it was commemorated has highlighted that here was, for United States, a missed opportunity. Why missed opportunity? Because the author says this could have been a time when the manner in which 9/11 was commemorated could have been an opportunity for Americans to imagine the common destiny of all those who suffer under oppression and violence. Here was an opportunity. Here was an opportunity of identifying with the victims of all kind, not just Americans and not just only at this place, who suffered during this episode of violence. And this is a serious business. This is a serious business. I don't think Ashok's Petro illustration is important. What is important is Santayana, who tells us, if you forget, you are likely to go through it again. So, I would contend, and so would all of us, that it is fossilized, unchanging, dogmatic minds which overlook the value of commemoration, and with it are condemned to repeat past mistakes, are condemned to overlook new opportunities. Thank you.
For the motion, Dr. Kunal Sarkar. Oh, Pradeep, would you be speaking? Second, okay, fine. Mr. Chairman, sir, esteemed colleagues for the proposition, members speaking in opposition to today's subject, and dear members of the audience. We rise today to present to you our understanding and our belief that commemoration, more so the culture of commemoration, not the spirit of commemoration, not the message of commemoration, but the culture of commemoration, is the regressive pastime of fossilized minds. The fossilization and the mind part I'll leave to Kunal. As a qualified medical professional, he will be better placed to handle that. But I would like to tell you right at the very beginning, when I sought permission from the Victoria Memorial Hall to park my car inside, I received a delightful email which said, "You are permitted to drive into the enemy camp and park your car inside." Raju here is sort of adding a supplemental correction. But that's not the point. We are debating here today, and I'm very glad that the Victoria Memorial Hall has seized this initiative to stage a debate. A museum or a commemoration only seeks to freeze a part of the human process, an event, a happening, a tragedy, and not only does it seek to present it in a certain fashion, but more often than not, it seeks to present human history in a way that suits the majority, in a way that suits the victor, in a way that suits the dominant force of that period. I am very glad that Professor Suren Munshi, in opening his motion, mentioned the book by David Simpson, published by the University of Chicago Press in 2006, called 9/11, The Culture of Commemoration, and that's what brought this phrase into the public discourse. Professor Munshi read the book in the way that the blind men perceived the elephant. He described it either as a rope, or as a tree, or as a snake. But the book is not that. the book is one of the harshest criticisms of commemoration that you will ever read. For it narrates chapter after chapter the mistake and the error of commemoration, because commemoration is a very, very dangerous tool. The culture of commemoration is a very dangerous tool in human hands. It narrates how the complex and the paradoxical public discourse that took place in the USA after the Twin Towers were brought down on 9/11, another aircraft crashed into the Pentagon, and a fourth plunged into a field in Pennsylvania. The events were aestheticized. They were made into attractive commemorative events. The blood and gore, the tragedy, the terror and the fear were sanitized. They were exploited and appropriated by the ruling party of America to justify and to set up a structure of lies that ended in revenge and the invasion of Iraq. That is what 9/11 did. That is what the culture of commemoration of that event fueled. Not my words. Read the book. Such events were placed at a level where nobody could dare contest the version put forward by the ruling regime, by the Bush family. The culture of commemoration, in addition, highlighted that in our collective consciousness, any such event is a cataclysmic event. Our life is changed forever, and those who brought about that change are bad people who should never rise again. That's what the culture of commemoration achieved. The facts, as I said, were exploited in public discourse, and it was used to justify punishment. Punishment of one nation, of one political entity, multiple political entities by the dominant nation, which was the United States. Now mind you, I have the greatest sympathy for the victims of that event. But the exploitation and the misinterpretation of that very event and the way it led on to further polarization of world politics is what is brought out. Typically speaking, commemoration is used by politicians and by demagogues to construct a framework that portrays a group of people as victims. Think of the war memorial in the Maidan, where the victims are the Indian soldiers who have lost their lives in various world wars and our domestic battles. And to create a situation where the site of that commemorative event or statue or stone is considered sacred. So an Indian soldier loses his life in Mesopotamia, and the commemorative pillar tends to sanctify the ground where the pillar is erected. His community, his family are all forgotten, because a politician or somebody in the Indian army will have to stand in front and hear the bugle being blown when he is in command, take the salute and unfurl the flag. That is what commemoration achieves. We use the culture of commemoration, in general, so human society uses the culture of commemoration to stop the questioning of our actions by others. And that is the other perversity that the culture of commemoration achieves. You cannot question something that we are commemorating because it's a great and noble event that suits us. And it is one of the tools that is used to silence questions, any questioning. Professor Munshi also mentioned the instance of Germany, and I'm very happy once again that he did so, because Germany, I think only Russia as a country has a more troubled past. But if you see, the largest war museum in Germany is the Museum of the Jewish Holocaust, which occupies one full city block in Berlin. The other institutions of commemoration are actually terrible. The site where the V2 rockets were designed and built and launched from have been recreated into a commemoration of the victims killed by the V2 rockets, yet the man who designed the V2 rockets, Werner von Braun, went on and joined the American missile program, and no mention is made that the man who designed V2 rockets and whose V2 rockets killed people and the people who are commemorated there, that very man went on to design the entire American missile program, which in turn killed so many people in Vietnam, Cambodia, all over Asia, in different parts of Asia and the world. This is what commemoration leads you to. Commemoration is the practice of the victor to impose his view, his interpretation of facts on the defeated or the victim. I will end by pointing out to you only one more point, and this is on a more philosophical plane. You will see the rain falling, the apple will drop from the tree, and you can fill your mind with all these facts. But human existence tries to achieve the truth. You have to understand the law of gravitation to understand the connection between all unconnected facts. Commemoration seeks to present before you unconnected or connected facts in a long series, but it does not explain to you the human process that is leading you on to progress. Commemoration remembers events. Human beings search for the truth, and therefore the culture of commemoration is only an escape for minds who wish to be complacent and to say that I have achieved the truth. Commemoration is what slows us down. Commemoration tends to highlight the milepost and not the truth behind human existence. Thank you.
Thank you, Pradeep. Now may I request Shujata Sen to take the floor, please.
Chairman, sir, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not here for rhetoric and semantics like some of my worthy opponents are here for. I am here because I passionately believe that the motion should be defeated. A Kolkata High Court judgment has called the Victoria Memorial a monument that preserves the memory of Queen Victoria, who lived and ruled from here. Hence, its sanctity and the need for its preservation as an important monument. Never mind that Queen Victoria never set foot in India. Although research reveals that she was very intimate with her Indian assistant Abdul. This judgment by our honorable judges is about honoring the memory of someone who I'm sure my worthy opponents will refrain from calling individuals with fossilized minds. I'm sure my opponents will also refrain from calling all visitors to the museum, 2 million or so per year, some of who still place flowers under the statue of Queen Victoria, people with fossilized minds who come here for a regressive pastime. Recent research at Johns Hopkins University suggests that more frequently you revisit your memories, the more active the brain becomes. This is scientific evidence that destroys the motion for today, and this research was published in Scientific American in October 2013, last year. In literary terms, I will quote from Alan Moore of Watchmen fame. Moore did not believe in the notion of cramming regurgitated morals down the reader's throats, and instead sought to show superheroes of the past in an ambivalent light. Moore said, what we wanted to do was show all of these people, warts and all, show that even the worst of them had something going for them, and even the best of them had their flaws. But I'll quote another line from him, which is directly relevant for today's topic. He said, life is a lot more interesting if you are interested in the people and the places around you. So, illuminate your little patch of ground, the people that you know, the things you want to commemorate, light them up with your art, with your music, with your writing, with whatever it is that you do. That's unquote. Commemoration is about capturing a moment. It's about an evocation. comparable to the archaeologist digging into something buried and throwing new light into our understanding of the world. It's about remembrance without being judgmental. This year marks the centenary of the First World War, and several commemorative events are being planned. At the core of this commemoration is new understanding about the war of all wars. The war in the trenches left a generation of maimed soldiers and war widows. The unprecedented loss of life had a lasting effect on popular attitudes to war, and the repercussions of that struggle are still being felt to this day. Over 1.2 million Indian soldiers fought in this war, and nearly 75,000 were killed. What was the experience of the survivors? What happened to their families? Last month, I met a descendant of one of these war heroes living in Chandigarh. For him, his grandfather's war experience is a crucial element of how his own life has been defined. He wants to know more and more. I put him in touch with the Imperial War Museum in London, which is the focal point of the World War I commemorative celebrations in the UK, including research on the lives of Indian soldiers. The Imperial War Museum is in fact opening 2 new galleries on World War I to mark the occasion. To mark the commemoration, they have gathered together objects, films, sound recordings, diaries and letters, some of which have never been seen before, in an exhibition called Street to Trench. It will celebrate the lives of remarkable individuals and attempt to show how the society we live in today was born out of the rapid changes that resulted from the First World War.